Ralph Bud Galow is a local farm boy who walked out of the cornfields and into the wonderful world of radio, never looking back. He spent half a century as a man behind the glass, keeping the transmitter humming and the audio board streaming. You may not have heard his voice on the air, but if he didn't do his job as broadcast engineer, you wouldn't hear anybody's voice on the air. Bud helped make Philadelphia broadcasting history in 1965. He was part of the original crew when KYW began its format-shattering, all-news, all-the-time programming.
All news and only news. This is KYW Newsradio at 12 noon, and I'm Steve Porter.
He started as a studio engineer, and 40 years later retired from news radio as studio supervisor. Bud was as much a part of news radio as the news ticker sound effect. It was a big leap from the fields to the ships of the United States Navy. He got his first taste of broadcasting at Navy Radio School. Bud put away the dress blues to join civilian life and a series of jobs at radio stations in Pennsylvania and Delaware before setting sail at KYW. Bud says that other than handling the all-news station, his biggest broadcast memories are helping the station over the nuclear accident at 3 Mile Island and the moving of the Liberty Bell from Independence Hall to its own building nearby.
Good evening, everyone. This is Bill Branson from the spanking new Liberty Bell Pavilion on Independence Mall in Philadelphia as we get ready to say goodbye to 1975 and greet the year of the nation's 200th birthday, 1976.
Tonight, we add Bud Galow to the rightful place in the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's amazing. I remember all those things. It was very exciting. First of all, I want to thank the Hall of Fame Selection Committee and the Board of Directors for this honor. I was looking over the list of the honorees for this evening, and I was surprised to see how many broadcast pioneers I either worked for or with in the past. Blaze Howard came to KYW as the sales manager. A long time ago, Fred Walters came as a news director for many years. Then I switched to CAU, and John Leach was an engineering manager. So that was interesting. And then Ralph and Barbara did a show on WRCV. And then there was Fred Sherman. Strange but happy fellow. There was Jack Pyle, a morning DJ. John Franklin, the most famous name in Philadelphia. Grady and Hurst, the Bobbsey twins. The only one that's here tonight is Hurst. Gene Shepard was a late-night talker, and I can't leave out Bill Branson, who told me he stayed on only to see if news radio was a gig that a DJ sportsman could do. Well, you know what happened then. He became the preeminent newsman. I could tell you a number of spoonerisms, but I was told to keep this to 3 minutes. If I may, I would like to conclude with a few words about my wife, Mary. It was the second time around for her and for me. When my first wife, Faye, died after 39 wonderful years and 2 boys, Chris and Scott, I never considered wife number 2 until the day I got a call from a retired pastor down in Boca Raton, Florida. And he called and asked me, "Who are you dating?" I said, "I'm not dating anybody." Well, he had been a pastor at our church for a long time, so he knew that Joan Cramp's husband had died, and he said to me, "Why don't you take Joan out?" So, okay, I called Joan, and we went out a couple times, and then the next thing I know, Joan's inviting me to come out to to dinner. And she walks in with this blonde. And so being the last of the big time spenders, I bought everybody drinks at, where was it, Chi-Chi's. Can you imagine? After everything was over, we were out in the parking lot, and Joan and this blonde said they were going to the singles dance, and the other couple went home, and I'm standing there twiddling my thumbs. A few weeks later, I get a phone call from Joan saying, when are you going to take Mary out? And I said, I'm not going to take Mary out. And so she insisted I call her. So I called, and I said, how'd I go out to dinner? And she said, oh, great, if we can go someplace where we can dance. Now, it's 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Where are you going to find a place to go dance and have dinner in suburban Philadelphia? So I happen to be a member of a Masonic club up in Allentown. I know they always have dances on Saturday nights. They have a nice dinner and everything. So I called the maitre d', and he said, yeah, we'll sneak in one table for you two. So we get up there. Driving up, Joan thought Mary thought I was taking her out of the state. She says, are we still in Pennsylvania? She was a city girl who like 6 blocks was a trip. And 45 minutes of the highway to Allentown was like out of this world. So we got married after a while. And after 22 fantastic years with Mary and many travels and many trips, she passed away last year. And so it was in the spring that I got a phone call from Jerry. He says, what are you going to be doing on the 21st of November? I said, well, that's Mary's birthday. She would have been 85. And I said, wow. He said, we're going to induct you to the Hall of Fame that night. That's tonight. That's Mary's birthday. You know how that is. So when I told my children, stepchildren, but they want to be called children, they're all Catholics. And they all said, Mary's up in heaven pulling strings for you. And that's really what happened. And so I felt that engineers were seldom chosen for this honor, and I was totally surprised. I shared this information with my Catholic children, and they all, as a unit, said, that's Mary. I must agree, so for me, tonight's a very special night. My son Scott, all of my stepchildren, my second family, and the spirit with Mimi are with us here tonight. And that all makes me feel kind of mushy inside. So thank you.